grand finale for the 2024 season of the Grassroots Big Events Racing League brings us to Pensacola, Florida for the virtual running of the 57th annual Snowball Derby at Five Flags Speedway, an event in which has been nationally known as one of the toughest and most prestigious events in not only super late model discipline, but in motorsports oval racing, respectively. The Derby featuring a who's who of drivers from the legends of short track racing to veterans and champions in the top series of NASCAR. Tonight on iRacing, 16 drivers compete for 150 laps around this half-mile facility looking to take claim of the virtual victory in the 2024 Snowball Derby. My name is Ryan Pittman, and I'm alongside my co-host Noah Evans. Noah, this racetrack is one of the most well-known short track facilities in the country, the Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola, Florida. And this weekend, the weekend of December, the first weekend of December, they have the Snowball Derby, and drivers all across the country, as you mentioned, from multiple disciplines, from late model stock racing and Caden Honeycutt and Carson Quapple, to the super late model greats of Ty Majeski and Stephen Nasse. All the drivers, I think it was 57 competitors or something on a weekly basis or a yearly basis that we have out here competing for the few spots that are open in a real life event. But tonight, 16 drivers on iRacing will compete once again to see if they can take claim in a virtual version of it for the Grassroots Big Events Racing League.
And drivers such as Chase Elliott and Donnie Allison have cut their teeth here at Five Flags Speedway. Chase Elliott, the most recent Cup Series winner I can think of winning this race. He won it back in 2020. And anyone who's anyone in the short track racing community and in the late model community more specifically wants to win the Snowball Derby. This is like the Daytona 500 for these guys. This is one of the most prestigious events in the country, and it comes right at the tail end of everybody's season. This is a race you are always hungry.
Yeah, no, and I've never had the privilege of making a journey down to, or a pilgrimage, I guess you could say, down to Five Flags Speedway for this event, but it is most certainly on the bucket list item for me, and I'm sure many other short track enthusiasts alike across the country. This place just brings thousands of fans, not only in person on the premises as well, but on Flow Racing, which they picked up for the first time here in 2024, and their broadcast was one of the biggest broadcasts on the platform.
And it's definitely going to be interesting to see how these drivers are going to be able to adapt to this track tonight. This is a much larger track than what we ran a couple weeks ago over at Southern National Motorsports Park. This track is way bigger and way faster. And it's going to be a big transition for these drivers to try to run this way faster track, and it's going to be an awesome night tonight.
Yeah, you're not even talking about the separate disciplines of racetracks in a half-mile facility of Five Flags Speedway to Southern National, those 0.4 of a mile, but you're talking about a whole different vehicle, a whole different race car. Tonight we're in the super late models compared to the late model stocks, somewhere around 650 plus horsepower compared to the 400 or so that you have in a late model stock. So that throttle control is going to be ever so important here for these drivers, and I'm sure we'll start to see these cars slip and slide. And we only have one set of tires in the pits, 150 laps. Who is going to be able to make them last, and who is going to come down and take their tires at the proper time? We'll only see as we get ready once again to see if we can finish up with our qualifying and practice here. Let's go through the qualifying order. Noah, do you have the order pulled up?
Yes, I do. Brennan Forseal is going to be our pole sitter tonight. Alyssa Peltier-Shaw is going to be starting in the second position. Riley Maricchio and Stephen Choate are going to be in row number 2. Matt Bondran and Luke Bullard are going to be row number 3, starting 5th and 6th, respectively. Kyle Martin and Ty Bostic are 7th and 8th position. Jeff Nairn and William Carr in the second is going to be 9th and 10th position. Stephen Heiss and Jeremy Flanagan are 11th and 12th. Pete Woodrum and Stephen Ray are starting 13th and 14th. Brian Johnson and Evan Amick, that's going to round out 15th and 16th, and that will be your field for tonight's Snowball Derby.
Now this is the time when the drivers are strapped up. They are anticipating what is going to be the battle of the best here as the pace car is starting to roll. All the weekend of practice, all the weekend of frustration, trying to get your car set, trying to put in laps to try to do the best you can in this race. It is all going to come down to 150 laps. But you got to be patient. You've got to make sure you make it there to the end. This can be a battle of attrition, as we've seen in years past. The real-life event that was taking place last Sunday with Ty Majeski, Caden Honeycutt, who were able to make it through that battle and claimed victory was Caden Honeycutt, claiming what I believe was his first Snowball Derby. Here for the young driver looking to try to make his way into the Truck Series and into the top tiers of NASCAR. But here on iRacing, on the front row, we have Brennan Forseal and Alyssa Peltier Sharp on the outside, looking to see if they can make their names in a virtual sense for the Grassroots Big Events Racing League.
And as a driver myself, this is the most nerve-wracking time in any sort of racing discipline. Right before those pace car lights go off, you are anticipating what the guy next to you, what the guy behind you, and in front of you is going to do. As you know, anything can happen on these opening laps here, as we are going green for the Snowball Derby here in Pensacola, Florida.
Brennan Forseal maybe not have gotten the jump that he needed. Alyssa Peltier Sharp on his outside, trying to roll that top all the way down through the second turn and down the back straightaway for the first time. Brennan Forseal diving hard down into 3, trying to clear the 11 on the outside.
Peltier Shaw ripping that outside line of that number 11 Volkswagen machine. Look at the number 32, almost sending a 3 wide down into turn number 1, right up against that inside pit road wall. We're going to stay 2 wide for the lead, and here comes Brennan Forseal on that inside, trying to make it work, quite make it stick.
That last time by, I think we saw 3 wide for the first 2 rows here for the super late models. Such an incredible sense of skill for these drivers up front to be able to pull themselves out of that, but up front continues to be Alyssa Peltier trying to rip ride that outside. She can make it work for a little bit. She's got to make it stick to try to get by that 82.
And she might make this work, Ryan. Peltier Shaw has been ripping that outside line for the last couple of laps. She's going to clear the 82, ripping the top. And that is something I have yet to have seen here at Five Flags Motor Speedway. Peltier Shaw is now your leader.
Forseal trying to make it tough on the number 11 machine. The Volkswagen from out of this country, Alyssa Peltier, trying to make her name in the short track ranks here for the Grassroots Big Events Racing League. Once again, trying to rip that top side around the 82 of Brennan Forseal.
That 82 is struggling to hold that inside line, as now that 32 of Riley Maricchio is going to try to make it work there. He can't quite make it work. He's going to fall back to the 3rd position, gives a little love tap to the 80, and he is still going to be in the 3rd position. Peltier Sharp is now your outright leader.
Riley Maricchio looking down into the bottom line, going into 1, trying to shuffle that 82 down to the outside and out of his way. Riley Maricchio trying to move up to the 2nd position. He is going to throttle off a 4 and try to clear the 82 off the front row.
And this is not where you want to be if you are Brennan Forseal. These inside line cars have begun a line, and it's just enough to where you cannot make any sort of move to get back down. You see Kyle Martin and Steven Choate there trying to keep the 8 stuck on the outside line, as now the 9 of Kyle Martin is going to move up into the 3rd position, and Forseal has just been left out to dry on that outside lane.
That is the tough thing about this short track racing. That bottom line is ever so dominant oftentimes in a racetrack as small as this, and you can make it work for only a few laps than the 82 machine has seen. But now the time has come where he started to fall back. He's going to try to find a spot down maybe behind the number 07 of Matt Vordrain. But if he does not, that 03 of Luke Bullard is going to look to fill that gap as soon as he can as well.
Vordrain now side by side with the 82 of Brennan Forseal. Forseal going to look to concede that position and try to fall to the inside. You can see right there, he just gave up that spot now. He's got a lot of work ahead of him. He's given up 6 spots since he started on pole position. He's got a long way to go and a long time to get there, Ryan.
Yeah, one of the biggest things in these super late models, full of power that you have at the throttle of your feet. The patience of a race car driver can really benefit, as this track is going to change. The handling of your race car is going to change. And the 82 may be saying, hey, it is 150 laps. These tires have to make it at least a halfway. It's a long way to go, and I'm going to save my time and see where it takes me.
And it's races like this and tracks like this that really show a driver's patience. These longer races reward patience. As we saw, Caden Honeycutt was lying in wait all of that Snowball Derby, and finally he snuck up on a late race restart to win it. And that could be what Maricchio and Martin are doing. You can see the gap is massive to the front car of Peltier. So that might be a strategy that the rest of these cars are just going to let the top car run out of tires and try to take an opportunity to go for the lead and possibly a new set of tires.
Kyle Martin getting into the wall off the 4th turn, or off the back straightaway. Maybe trying to throttle up just a little too hard to try to get by the number 32. Kyle Martin falls back just a few tenths of a second here as Riley Maricchio continues to stay in second. Kyle Martin in third with Stephen Choate there in fourth.
And so far, we are only 16 laps into this 150-lap race. But right now, the hungriest car on track that I can see is Maricchio. Look at how close Kyle Martin is getting to the bumper. That 32 just not quite touching the bumper of Riley Maricchio. He's going to look to get to the inside there, but he can't quite get there. Maricchio going to hold off that number 9 Toyota Camry. And that's how close it is, Ryan, here at Five Flags Speedway. And these drivers are going to be all night long.
Kyle Martin giving a bumper to the number 32 of Riley Maricchio, moving him up the tracks. They head down the front straightaway. Kyle Martin going to move himself up to second, but Riley looking no more, trying to get down to the bottom. He's not able to get there. Riley Maricchio falls down to third.
And a dash and bash from Kyle Martin gets him up into the second position. Maricchio now in third. Stephen Choate and Brendan Verseal. That's out your top 5 here at Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola, Florida. Peltier Shaw, still your leader. She's got about a 5-second gap to the car behind, and that's Kyle Martin. And I gotta say, if this is how this number 11 car is gonna dominate all night long, we might see a blowout victory from the 11 of Peltier Shaw.
Alyssa Peltier has the fastest lap as of now with a 16.585. Kyle Martin with the fastest lap at 16.642. Just about equal times. Kyle Martin actually just a little bit quicker that last time by. This may be the charge for that number 9 machine as he tries to get back to the back bumper of the 11, but he's got a long way to go.
Peltier Sharp is almost a 1/10 of a second faster than the second fastest car, and she is on a roll right now up in front, but she was way slower that last lap around. And now we're going to see if Kyle Martin now is going to try to conserve his tires or just take the lead early and have that advantage of being car down pit road so he can get fresher tires and hopefully get around the rest of the field.
Let's go ahead and take a look through the fields. We have once again Alyssa Peltier Sharp up at the front of the racetrack in the lead. Kyle Martin in second, Riley Maricchio in third. Stephen Choate falls to fourth, and on the back end of the top 5, Brendan Verseal, Matt Verdrain in sixth, Ty Bostic in seventh, 8 Luke Bullard. 9th is William Caron the second. Jeff Nairn sits in 10th. Stephen Ray in 11th. 12th is Jeremy Flanagan. 13th, Stephen Heights. 14th, Evan Amick. 15th, Brian Johnson. And 16th is Pete Woodrum.
Going back up front is Peltier Sharp. She is the car in the lead, and she is commanding this race right now. Still almost a 1/10 of a second, a second gap now. It's gone down from a 5-second lead to a near 1-second lead. And that number 11 car has fallen off these past couple laps. Kyle Martin now is hungry, and he's got a line of cars behind him in Maricchio and Stephen Choate. Look at how loose the 32 got off of that corner there. And that 32 car is hungry and almost overdriving it there. That should show you how much these drivers want to win this race tonight.
That is some of the opportunities you have to look for as a race car driver. Just tuck yourself ever so close to the back bumper, waiting for a mistake as such as we saw for the 32. But he was not able to slip in there onto the bottom side. But the 32 looks like he may be starting to get just a little bit loose. May have gotten those rear tires just a little bit hot. We may start to see that 32 start to slip back here, but only time will tell.
And the lap times have almost fallen off by about half of a second now. The fastest time run this race was a 16.5. The last lap Peltier Sharp ran was a 17.109. So cars are down. Everyone's trying to get into their groove. Look at how loose the 72 is off of the corner there. That's Stephen Choate. And these drivers are really trying to gain position here at Pensacola, here at Five Flags Speedway. Ryan, what do you expect for these guys' strategy tonight, and what lap can we see them pit on?
Well, this is a bit of the interesting thing is we were kind of wondering if Alyssa Peltier Sharp was going to be overusing her tires and pulling up to too much of a lead per se. But as we've seen, these drivers, the 32 and the 72, those are the drivers that are starting to slip up a little bit.
Stephen Choate now has been in a quiet fourth position, but he's been running very consistent laps. His best is a 16.6 now. He is on par with Kyle Martin, just a thousandth of a second faster than Kyle Martin. It's going to be interesting to see what that number 72 Miller genuine draft machine can do. But going back up to this battle for second position, you can see how close it is between Maricchio and Martin just slipping up constantly, and he is trying to keep that number 9 machine on the track and heavy pressure from Maricchio.
We were kind of wondering if the tires are starting to slip off, but that may just be able to get the handling that he needs, the back end to be able to kick out just a little bit and throttle off the corner. Add a little bit of extra rotation as this car may start to actually build a little tight on the run. If you can heat up that right rear tire, that may come to your benefit on the end of this run.
Things are starting to heat up here in Pensacola at Five Flags Speedway. Now the lap times have fallen off tremendously for the number 11 of Peltier Sharp. Look at the fastest car on track. That's going to be Stephen Cho, a 17.1 repeating. And that number 11 car has fallen off to 17.2 now. She's really off the pace for the pace of the last 3 cars in that line right there, led by Kyle Martin. And we're going to see this 9 car catch this number 11 machine in the next coming laps if she keeps this up.
Let's go ahead and take a listen to the throttle of this number 9 machine of Kyle Martin as he continues to try to track down the leader of Alyssa Peltier Sharp. Trying to see if he can just roll ever so slightly into the corner, roll just barely onto the throttle off, and keep that car pointed straight down the front straightaway as he continues to click lap times that are comparable and if not quicker. 30 thousandths of a lap quicker, of a second quicker, is Kyle Martin on the leader.
And he is gaining. You can see that number 11 car has been running that middle, but it just doesn't look like it's working out for that number 11. You can see she made contact with the wall right there, and it is now down to a 0.3 of a second gap now between her and Kyle Martin. This race is just starting to heat up, Ryan.
As the cars continue to battle up front, next battle on the racetrack is the 03 of Luke Bullard and the 07 of Matt Verdrain. Door to door outside is Verdrain. Luke Bullard seeing if he can power down off the second turn to see if he can claim that 6th position from the 07 machine.
The 2 paint schemes that are no stranger to racing each other, Ryan. That Budweiser scheme and that DeWalt scheme met each other many times in the early 2000s, driven by Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Matt Kenseth. They are back racing together at Five Flags Speedway. And going back up front now, Maricchio still holding on to the second position now. The gap just becoming a little bit over a thousandth of a second now as he's going to grab the second position after a slip up by Kyle Martin. And now Maricchio now has a lot of room to work with, but not quite yet. Martin is going to try to get one last word in, but now Maricchio is the sole holder of second position.
Kyle Martin trying to cross over move now, maybe looking to put the back bumper or the front bumper of the 9 to the 32 machine of Riley Maricchio. He does as he powers down into 3, slides up the racetrack and moves the 32 out of the way. Move Kyle Martin back up to second place momentarily, but I'm sure the 32 may have a second word about it.
And this is exactly what you want to see if you're Peltier Sharp. You want to see these 2 cars fighting for position and each other down, trying to outbrake, trying to outdrive each other. But right now, Kyle Martin got a little bit of a gap there to Maricchio, and he is now chasing down that number 11.
Kyle Martin this time by over a 1/10 of a second quicker to that number 11 machine out front of Alyssa Peltier. Looking to see if he can inch that in ever so slightly. 46, now call it 47 laps on the board. All green flag racing all so far. Kyle Martin looks to see like he has the fastest car on the racetrack. Looking to see if he can claim that first position here at the Snowball Derby.
Peltier Sharp now, pressure from Kyle Martin. Lap traffic now. We just saw it there on the camera down the back straightaway, and we just saw it there. That could play a factor. Look at how close the 9 of Martin is getting. He's going to try to get to the outside there, looking in and out, weaving, trying to find a spot. Can't quite get there. Right up to the bumper of the 11 of Peltier Sharp. He's going to look for a run down the front straightaway. It looks like he's going to try to clear the 11, and he's got it. Kyle Martin is going to go for the lead.
Kyle Martin powering down onto the back straightaway, looking to dive it deep down into 3. Alyssa Peltier leaving nothing more than a racing line down to his inside. Alyssa Peltier looking to see if she can once again throttle off and hang that car sideways off the 4th turn down into turn number 3. Kyle Martin looks to see if he can get the lead. Try it one more time into 3. trying to clear up. He slides up just a little bit down into 3 and onto the front straightaway.
And what a 3-car battle we have here for first. It is Martin Peltier, Sharp, and Mauricio. That's going to be your top 3. Look at how close Mauricio is getting to that number 9 car. He's in the middle now. He's trying to find any way he can get around these top 2 cars. And that number 11 Volkswagen of Peltier Sharp now under threat of losing the lead, as she has now lost it. He's dropped back to the 2nd position. Kyle Martin is now your leader.
Peltier has been hung on the outside line. How long is she able to stay up there before that right front starts to heat up just a little bit? As these cars battle the number 72 machine, as he dives hard into turn 1, is trying to fill that gap behind the 32. He is not able to get there. Peltier falls into 3rd on the inside.
A now 4-car line up in front. These are your leaders. Kyle Martin in the 1st position, Mauricio in 2nd, Peltier Sharp in 3rd, and Stephen Cho in the 4th position, and a very quiet 4th position for Stephen Cho. Now, he has stayed very patient all night long. Look at how close Mauricio is now up in front. Now, he's trying to catch the 9 of Kyle Martin. Mauricio, this is his race to win now, as look at how loose the 9's getting. He's going to give a little bit of a space here for Mauricio. He's going to fall right back in line and wait for that number 9 to make a mistake.
Look at the way the number 32 is able to roll that bottom. Such a much more disciplined line coming off the corners. You can see how it's tighter. He stays that white line. The 9 of Kyle Martin slipping up just a little bit. As he goes high, Mauricio comes low, and he's looking to see if he can get an edge and a benefit off of one of these turns and try to dive down to the inside as the 9 gets wide off of 4. And Mauricio, this may be the opportunity he's looking for, dives down into 1.
Mauricio now looking for the lead. He is trying to get by Kyle Martin. Can't quite get there. A little love tap once again. He's going to move him up the track, and just like we saw earlier, Mauricio pays back the favor and is going to look for the lead here at the Snowball Derby.
These 2 drivers, no strangers to one another. They have thousands of laps racing side by side. And at the Snowball Derby, they continue to put on a show as Kyle Martin looks to see if he can get down to the bottom once again, down into 1. Kyle Martin looks for the lead on the 32, slides up once again, and he is back to the lead.
Bumping and banging, trading paint. This is what it's all about here at the Snowball Derby and in super late model racing. Some of the fastest short track cars on the planet. You can see that number 32 Toyota Supra breathing down the neck of that number 9 Toyota Camry. And now it looks like Martin has learned how to run that top line. And look, here comes Mauricio looking back for the lead. Can he hold on to it off of turn number 4? And he's got it. Riley Mauricio is going to go back to the lead.
If I was no stranger to this race, I would be saying this is at the end of it, but we are only a mere 61 laps in of a 150 lap race, and these guys are driving like it's within the last 10 laps, Noah.
And look at how you can see there Martin moves the 32 up to the track, and these guys are, like you said, it is the last lap, but we're only 62 laps into this. 9 gets loose down the front straightaway, and Mauricio said he has had enough. Riley Mauricio now is the outright leader here at the Snowball Derby, Ryan.
Kyle Martin has had to shift from an offensive measure to now more of a defensive measure as the 11 of Peltier and the 72 of Stephen Choate has gotten to his back bumper. And now the 72 looking to see if he can slide into the 4th position or call it the 3rd position to the inside of the 11. He is not able to do so.
Mauricio now is up in front. It is Martin, it is Peltier Sharp, Stephen Choate, and Brennan Forseal now. That's your top 5. Forseal has clawed his way back up into this top 5 now, and he has the front pack in sight. It's going to be interesting to see how Forseal is going to try to recover from this. But Mauricio and Martin, this is a generational battle. This is like watching Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt go at high banks of Daytona back in the day. These 2 drivers are absolutely fighting like it is the last lap of the championship race. And you will never see better and clean racing than this than we are watching right now.
Ask all the drivers in the field which one of these big event races for the league would they like to win. And I guarantee 99% of them would say right here at Five Flag Speedway for the Snowball Derby, and they are putting on a show. They're showing just exactly how hard they want to win here at this half-mile racetrack. As once again, Kyle Martin looks down to the inside. He's going to dive it down and slide up, and they are going to make contact once again for the lead. Kyle Martin looks to see if he can gain an edge going into one. He is not.
And this is some of the best racing we've seen all year long in the Grassroots Big Event Racing League, and these two drivers know how much is at stake. This is for the Snowball Derby. This isn't for the Thanksgiving Classic or the Myrtle Beach 400. For one of the biggest late model races of the year, as the 32 made contact with a wall. That's going to open up the door for Peltier Sharp once again, and she's going to try to look back for the lead. Maricchio is going to slam that door shut immediately, as Kyle Martin is still leading us off of turn 4.
This is the gap that Kyle Martin needs. It may not be much, but this is what he needs to try to do and try to pull away from that 32. But the 32 still appearing just to be a little bit quicker going down into the corner is Maricchio as they head off of 4 down the front straightaway. Continues to be Kyle Martin, Riley Maricchio, Alyssa Peltier Sharp, Stephen Choate, and Brennan Persil in the top 5. All 5 cars under a blanket. And we are going to see who of these 4 cars, or maybe another, that ends up victorious at the end of this race.
Kyle Martin has done an excellent job defensively and offensively tonight. He's been a full showing from both of these drivers, going back to the lead and looking for it. Here comes Riley Maricchio. The 9 gets loose going into 1 and 2, gets moved up, and Maricchio is going to take that opportunity going back down into 3 and 4 and going onto the front straightaway side by side going into turn number 1 and 2.
Down to the inside, it continues to be the 32, the 9 leaving no more than a racing line to his inside. Door bumper to door bumper, door handle to door handle is the 9. The 32, as we've seen for the past 20 laps here at the Five Flags Speedway. These two drivers, you have to wonder, Noah, what is this racing doing to the tires of the 32 and the 9? But it appears to be they still continue to be the 2 best race cars on the racetrack as of now.
And a switchback move from Kyle Martin is going to try to get him to the lead, sliding off of turn 4. He's going to fall right back in line with the number 32 of Maricchio, and this is some of the best racing we've seen all year long, as we have just hit lap 75. Not long left for these drivers here in the Snowball Derby, and no one has decided to come down for tires yet. Interesting to see what lap and when these drivers are going to try to get some fresh Hoosier tires.
That's really what's just so impressive, Noah, is these two drivers, the way they are driving, as hard as they are, they're really the 11 of Alyssa and the 72 of Stephen Choate still have not been able to get to the back bumper of these 2 race cars. Continues to run lap times comparable. You look at Stephen Choate with a 17.427, Riley Maricchio with a 17.425, only within 1 or 2 thousandths of a second between drivers 1 through 4 on the racetrack, ever so close. But it continues to be, once again, Riley Maricchio, Stephen Choate putting on a show here at the Five Flags Speedway. Down on the back straightaway once again. Now is the time where they start encountering the lap traffic. That is the number 27 of Brian Johnson out in front of them. How is this going to change the characteristic of the racetrack? Only time will tell.
Like we just saw in the last couple laps, Stephen Choate, his tires look like they have fallen off tremendously. He's hit the wall down the back straight. The last 2 laps he's gotten in the straightaway as well, but somehow, some way, the tires of these front 2 cars have not fallen off any. They're still racing like they have fresh Hoosier tires on, and the lap times have fallen off by almost a second. This is very impressive driving by Riley Maricchio and Kyle Martin up in front.
As you see these drivers and the leaders trying to navigate their way through the lap traffic, 2 cars not where they need to be. 1 low, 1 high. Riley Maricchio looking to see if he can go all the way to the bottom. He clears the 51. Now looks to try to get to the inside of the 27. That is Brian Johnson there trying to keep himself on the lead lap, but Riley Maricchio trying to, in a hurry, to put that 27 lap down. 27 clear off of 4 and down the back straightaway. Riley Maricchio continues to lead once again ahead of Kyle Martin.
And that inside line threw the 32 off a lot going down the back straightaway. And we're going to see how the 9 of Martin is going to use the draft from Brian Johnson to get up front and get to Riley Maricchio. And it looks like he used it a lot there, as he's going to close that gap by about 1,000th of a second there, and just a 2/10 of a second gap between him and Maricchio.
Take a look at some of the other battles on the racetrack. Up for the battle of 7th and 6th, you have the 07 once again of Matt Fordrain, the number 22 of Ty Bostic, as they battle on the racetrack for those positions as well. Ty Bostic, not necessarily a short track racer at heart, more of the big oval side of the top 3 series of NASCAR, but he is putting on a show and showing that he can too do it at a half-mile racetrack in the super late model for that number 22.
Back up front is Mauricio, Martin, for Sharp, Show, and for Seal. That's going to be your top 5, and the 32 is now commanding this race. He's got a 0.4 of a second gap between him and Kyle Martin, and right now you have to start to wonder, has the tire fall off begun to affect the number 9? Because it doesn't look like it's affected the 32, Ryan, so far, as he has been commanding this race for most of these 87 laps here.
Yeah, we've already kind of talked about that tire fall off, where the fastest laps on the racetrack, Riley Mauricchio's fastest lap with a 16.659. His lap time this time by is 17.3765. He has fallen off about near 0.6 of a second. Really not as much as you might have thought. Now you look back a little bit farther with Alyssa Peltier, fastest lap on the racetrack with a 16.585 with 2 of 17.462. She has fallen off even harder than these leaders. You have to kind of wonder how much these guys at the front were actually saving as hard as they were battling as well.
Absolutely, we are just over halfway here at the Snowball Derby.
Looks like there may be the first caution on the racetrack. That is number 81 of William Caron, who had a spill on the racetrack. Let's see if we can take a look at what might have happened here for the 81 machine. Let's go back one lap behind that as well.
Looks like it's in between. That's William.
The 19 of Jeff Nairn.
Jeff Nairn in the. Let's see what happened here coming off of turn 4. Oh, straight into the back of the 81.
Yeah, I think that wall might have caught the 81 and Jeff Nairn with nowhere to go. The way iRacing does the wall physics at these racetracks, in an attempt to de-sway wall riding in the sim, just about as soon as you touch the wall, either on the front straightaway or in the corners, you just about slow down 20 mile an hour. It's quite insane. It's like you hit the brakes, and the 19 with nowhere to go hits the 81, and around we go for the first caution flag here with 90 laps complete.
And it looks like it just caught Jeff Nairn off guard. As you can see, he didn't even lift, and now you start to see cars coming down pit road. As you see Mauricio and Martin, the first 2 cars on the Five Flags Speedway pit lane. And it's going to be interesting to see who's going to get out of pit road first, as this is the first stop these guys are going to make tonight.
Now, Noah, here's the question as Luke Bullard looks like he might have missed his pits, but we've kind of seen how important track position can be, because it is quite difficult at times to make a pass here at this half-mile racetrack. You kind of wonder, is it worth even considering the fact of taking 2 right sides or 4 tires on a stop? Like Mauricio, I believe he took 2 right side tires for the leader and as well for the next 3.
Mauricio has regained his lead back up front, and we're going to see how this strategy is going to pull off, as it looks like about everybody came down pit road here. We're just under 60 laps to go here at Five Flags Speedway, and so far it's been a heck of a race, Ryan. We've seen a lot of lead changes. We've seen a lot of, I guess, contact, very light contact between the front 2 drivers in Mauricio and the 9 of Kyle Martin. What do you think we can expect for the rest of this race, as now these drivers are going to start to get desperate?
Yeah, well, I think these drivers, as long of a run that is, they've kind of been strung out over the racetrack. This is their first opportunity really to have an opportunity to really battle it out and try to gain some positions here. The aggression level, I can imagine, is probably going to start to pick up here, hopefully, without too much of an issue. But with under 60 laps to go, called about 57 laps to go, this is probably your best opportunity to pick up as many spots as you talked about that outside line. As difficult as it is to get rolling, if you're on the inside, this may be a terrific opportunity to stick a couple of those drivers, some of the quick drivers, out to the outside line and see if you can gain an edge.
We've seen a couple drivers have been able to run that outside line. Drivers like Kyle Martin and Peltier Sharp have been able to run it. That's how Peltier Sharp took the lead in the first place. In the early laps of this race, she managed to run that top line and was able to grab the lead. So it's going to be interesting to see if she's in the same spot Will she try it again and hopefully try to get that lead back?
See, as it looks like this time by potentially, pace car is going to make his way down to pit road. 32, Riley Maricchio, Alyssa Peltier, sharp on the outside. Stephen Choate gets loose on the bottom. Maricchio pulls out to the lead. Peltier dives down to the bottom, clears down in front of the number 9 of Martin. We are back green for the Snowball Derby.
And it looks like a missed shift for the number 72. That's going to cost him a couple spots and a lot of time to the cars up in front now. Peltier Sharp is right back in this thing as she is now breathing down the neck of the number 32 of Riley Maricchio. As you can see how close these cars run to this inside wall. A little bit of time, and this is a 3-car battle for the lead as the 11 almost goes around, and she will stop in turn number 4. Big contact there with the 81. Caution flag is going to come out again here at Five Flags Speedway, and a big hit for Alyssa Peltier Sharp as she went off the front end. I believe it was Martin.
You're seeing
and what a hit from number 11.
We're seeing how close those drivers were racing to each other, and it ended up being just a slight stack up on the bottom. We'll see if we can go and take a look once again at what might have happened there. Peltier trying to roll right behind the 32, the number 9 right behind her back bumper. As we go down to the 3, looks like the 9
up there.
Yeah, it looks like the 9 might have just rolled a little bit quicker than the 11 was expecting, and boom, to the driver's side door goes, I believe, the number 51 of Heights.
It's like the 51 just had nowhere to go there as he just got loose from that inside line and just floated up to the outside, and a big hit for the number 51. We're going to see how that will affect the 11 of Peltier Sharp, but a massive hit for both of those drivers nonetheless, and we are going to restart more than likely 50 laps to go.
Yeah, we'll have to see here. I'm going to be willing to bet the number 51 will definitely be coming down to get a faster pair. The number 11 continues to stay out on the racetrack and maybe see if she can change her luck, as once again she's going to be starting at the tail end of the field. Now, Noah, due to short track rules in this series, once 2 drivers are involved in a caution, either the spin or the spinee, both drivers will be delegated an ELL, and both drivers will end up at the back of the field as a way to try to resolve some, although we like to have tight racing, try to clean up some of the racing as well. That just seemed like a racing incident to me. Hard on a restart with 50 laps to go. Trying to run as tight as you can, just things happen.
Yeah, and that just looked like a racing incident, and it looks like a checkup for the number 11 is what caused that. As we can see, the 32 got a little bit slower into that corner than the 11 anticipated. But so far, it's been great racing tonight. As you can see, the 11 is going to use her fast repair to get back out on track, and she's got a long way to cut up, back up to the front here at Five Flags Speedway, as we're going to restart this race more than likely with 50 laps to go. But this has presented Matt Vordran with the second position in that number 07 machine, and he's had a very quiet night, but a very tough night for that number 07 machine, and he's fought his way all the way up to second, and this could be the opportunity he's been waiting to win the Snowball Derby.
Yeah, absolutely. Vordran sitting there in second, Ty Bostic in third. We talked about Ty Bostic in the beautiful Lightning McQueen livery there. How fantastic is that? But yeah, some of these drivers that we've talked about may not necessarily be short track racers find their way up to the front just by the way of attrition. And I think that 22 is looking to see that he also can make it on the short track ranks.
Well, he's going to try to float like a Cadillac and sting like a Beamer here in these last couple of laps. Five Flags Speedways, we're getting ready to go back green here as Maricchio is going to be to the inside of Matt Vordran, and Stephen Choate and Ty Bostic are going to be in row number 2. Ty Bostic has had a very, very tough night, and he's now into the third position now on the outside line. We're getting ready to go back green here on Five Flags Speedway.
Pace car is off. We are back green once again. Riley Maricchio gets an excellent start. The 07 Matt Vordran does not. He immediately gets relegated to the outside, and the 22 of Ty Bostic looks to roll that low line and try to clear the 07 off of 4, off of 2 that is.
Maricchio now back up in front. Vordran is going to try to hold that second position now as he's got Ty Bostic under fire right now, and these cars with these new tires, this is the fastest. It looks like they've gone all night long as lap times are back into the 16 seconds. Bostic is going to fall back to third, and Vorndrain is going to get the position. But right now, it is all Riley Maricchio up in front.
Brennan Seal, who started on the pole, had fell back just quite a little bit, maybe back to about the 8th or 9th position. Now looking to see if he can make his way back up to the front. He may have seen what kind of changes to the handling that race car had on the first run, looking to see if he can make a few alternate decisions to try to get the handling of that race car just a little bit different for the second run. Maybe take care of the tires a little bit more, maybe burn up a tire or two, either the front or the rear, just a little bit more to try to change the characteristics of the handling on this race car. If it pushes a little bit tight, maybe try to enter up a little bit higher, a little bit lower off the corner, burn that right rear a little bit, try to get the back end to step out just a little bit more, and that can save you on the long run for sure.
And a driver we haven't talked about since the last incident, Kyle Martin. Now he's dropped all the way back to the 9th position. Now he is in an absolute hornet's nest back there in the 9th position. He is fighting for his life to get back up front. He's got Peltier Sharp in his front windshield now, going to try to fight back at the number 11 and try to get back up to the front where he knows he belongs. In contact between the two again, and that is a big accident here at Five Flags Speedway. Caution flag is out again, and it looks like the 51 and the 11 found each other again, and that is a big, big pile up on the front straightaway.
Big damage once again to the 51 of Heights. Let's see if we can try to find Alyssa Peltier as well. Maybe not quite so much damage, but let's take a look at what might have happened there. Let's go back a lap or two to see what kind of formulated. The 11 trying to make her way back up through the race, as she sits in 8th, trying to get by the 51, who sat in 7th. Maybe just a little bit of a stack up, or didn't get through the corner quite as quick as she thought. And around goes to 51, getting turned as the 11, and a plethora of Torb race cars down off the 4th turn.
And that's just a huge, huge accident there on the front straightaway, and that's going to change things up a little bit as these new tires have, I guess, reignited a fire in these drivers that we haven't seen since the start of this race. And Maricchio is still going to be your leader, but Vorndrain and Bostic had an excellent battle for second there. We're going to see how that's going to change things up here at Five Flags Speedways. This is our 3rd caution of the night.
Now, Noah, how frustrating is it for a driver of such as the number 11, who led just about the first 20, 30 laps of this event, the first half or say, was the number 11 of Peltier. Very, very strong contender, started on the outside row. Now ends up in 2 incidents. Got sent to the rear, made her way all the way up to about 8th, got spun again, and now has to make her way all the way back up to the front for a 2nd time in this event.
No, and it's one of those frustrating things as a driver to do all that work and just to have it all taken away from you again. And so she's going to have a long way to go, but this time she's got a short time to get there. 40 laps to go, flies by here at a track like Five Flags Speedway. As fast and as short as this track is, it's going to be interesting to see how that number 11 machine is up.
Yeah, no, you talk about the shortness of this racetrack. Now, it is still a half mile, relatively large for these short track cars, maybe not for the super late models, but you're talking about 16-second laps, say about a little bit under 4 laps in a minute here for these race cars with 40 laps to go. 10 minutes to go in the session approximately. That is not a whole lot of time to make your way up from about 9th all the way back up to the front. Now, not even to mention that you're probably going to be burning up just a little bit more tire trying to get by these guys.
Yeah, and it's going to be a long race here at Five Flags, and you can see the 72 there. It looks like he got caught up in that incident as well as Stephen Cho. He's going to be in the 10th position. He fell all the way to the back there on that restart. It's going to be a lot of fun to see how these drivers are going to handle the adversity now of a lot shorter time to work with. You can see Riley Maricchio is still commanding this race, and he's commanded most of this race. And I don't think, Ryan, there's a stronger car on track than that number 32.
Yeah, that is probably the benefit of the 32, the 2 strongest cars in the field, Riley Maricchio and Kyle Martin. Riley Maricchio, as we see up here in the front, but whereas Martin all the way back in 7th, trying to make his way back up to the front. But this, once again, like you talked about, Matt Vorndrain gives him an excellent shot at the lead and a win here for the Five Flags Snowball Derby. We will see what he's able to happen, but he's going to be on the outside on this restart. We've talked about how treacherous that outside line can be as well. For that 07, he's going to be trying to get down to the bottom as soon as possible here.
Getting ready to go back green here at Five Flags Speedway. It is Vordran. For Seal has fought his way back up. He's in the 4th position. To his it's Ty Bostic in the number 22 machine. Going back green here now, coming to the restart line. And we are back green as Mauricio gets a great jump on that restart. It looks like a missed shift for the number 07 machine of Vordran. He's going to get shoved to the outside line by the 82 of Seal. And we are back green here in Pensacola.
Ty Bostic slips up into second. Vordran on the outside. The 82 of Brennan Seal looking to see if he can capitalize on that mistake by the number 07. Hard down into 1 is the 82. Trying to power off the second turn and down the back straightaway is the 82. Once again, not able to clear the 07, but back we have a hornet's nest with Kyle Martin and Jeff Nairn to his outside as we have a plethora of cars battling for the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th position here.
Back up in front, look at Ty Bostic trying to eye that first position now. He is right on the bumper of Riley Mauricio, and this is a car we didn't tonight to be up in front, but Ty Bostic has proved us wrong. Bostic now looking for the first position, and you can see that number 22 Rusty's machine is right on the bumper of Riley Mauricio. And look at Brennan Seal in the back. He is fighting about as hard as he can to get up to the front again. He knows how strong his car is as he started in the first position. Let's see what Mauricio can do now with this lead.
This is kind of a different thing for a driver. The 32 has been battling the 9 all race long. Now he has a different driver with a different set of skills, a different attribute as far as how he races this racetrack. You have to try to learn the competitor that you're racing with in the number 22 machine for both the 22 and the 32. How does this change up how you race the guy? A driver you probably haven't raced with at all in the short track ranks.
Well, you want to try to learn the driver the best you can in a short amount of time as you can. You want to know where he's going to mess up and what corners he's going to overdrive, or what is he going to try to do to attack you, basically, and whatever corners he's good in, better in. And so far, it looks like it's been caution flag's going to come out again. That's the 72 going around, and the 03 around as well. And that's going to be our 4th caution of the night here in Five Flags Speedway. That's 72 of Stephen Choate, and the 03 of Luke Buller going around. And Jeff Nairn as well was involved in that. Let's see what happened there.
I think I might have seen that incident formulate with the 19. Not sure entirely who he might have got it in together with. Maybe it was the 72 of Choate. See, go down to the 3 for once again. Looks like he might have slipped up just to try to get out of the way of the 07. The 72 was not able to check up as well, and around with the 19 as well as Choate.
Yeah, it looks like he just thought he had room there, and the 72 did at least, and it looks like the door just shut really quickly. So in a way, I guess you could say it shut on his hand of the door, but just couldn't quite get the deal done, and that's going to be our 4th caution flag of the night here in Five Flags Speedway.
Just going to take a look at some of the damage on some of the cars. The 19 of Jeff Nairn does not look all too worse for wear. The number 72 of Choate looks like he might have a right front fender wrinkled up a little bit. Certainly some damage on the back, but probably not the worst for the wear. Not sure if he'll be coming down pit road here for any kind of repairs. But once again, under caution for the Snowball Derby at Five Flags. 122 laps in the books, 28 laps to go. Things have started to heat up for sure. Not for the 2 at the front as we've seen all this race long. Well, they have been racing very, very hard and competitively, but more so towards the back where we've seen all these incidences for these drivers as well.
Mauricio has commanded most of this race, and I gotta say, I've never seen a driver this confident in his race car, and he has never slipped up once tonight. He has been the most confident in the most strong car all night, and he has really proved that as we're now just under 30 laps to go here. We're going to restart more than likely 25 laps remaining, and Ty Bostic and Brennan Seal have done a great job of getting back up to the front, but look in that 4th position. That's a familiar face we've seen up front. That's Kyle Martin. He's fought his way all the way back up into the 4th position, and we're going to see how that number 9 is going to handle the pressure now of just under 20 laps, 25 laps to go here. And Ryan, do you think that 9 car could pull?
Well, he's going to have a little bit of a trouble, I would imagine, once again starting on the outside, not exactly in the most optimal position. Now, we do have the opportunity for the leaders to take a lane choice on the inside or out, but for these other drivers, second, third, fourth on back, they do not have the privilege of a lane choice. So the number 9 machine will be starting the outside. Certainly doable to try to get down, but that is also where stack-ups and incidents can happen, is when a driver tries to clear down just a little bit too early, down to the bottom line, and that can be issues for sure. But Kyle Martin is certainly a driver who I think can make it up there at the end. We've still got, while it's only about 25 laps remaining, still plenty of time to just make up 3 positions for that number 9 machine.
Maricchio, Bostic, Verseal, Martin, Vorndran, Ray, all on this front row here, going on back to row number 3. Here we go, back to the restart line. This Maricchio, it is Bostic, the man up in front. And we're going back green here, and a good jump by Maricchio. That's going to gain him the lead almost immediately. Maricchio is back up front.
The driver of the night, we wonder how soon he's going to get down to the bottom line. He has made it there already in the 22, already shuffled to the outside line. Kyle Martin looking to make it 3 wide off of 4, and they make it down onto the front straightaway. No contact indeed. Kyle Martin is hard on the charge to try to get back up to second.
Martin wants the second position bad, and he wants that first spot bad. And we are now at 2 laps to go. When we come back to the line, Kyle Martin has found his way back up, and the caution flag is going to come out again. That's number 5 tonight, and that's going to be the number 81 of William Kahn, the second. And let's see what happened there. 3 wide down to the front straightaway, and looks like he goes around off the nose of the 72 there, as just not enough space was left. Let's see if we can get a better look there. Yeah, just not enough space. Almost 4 wide right there down the front straightaway, and it's like the 81 tried to shut that door a little too quick. Yep, you can see right there, and he goes off the nose of the 72 of Choate, and well, it went from bad to worse for the 72. He was in a position to lead this race earlier on, and now he's just been perpetually stuck at the back. And so, tough night for Stephen Choate and the number 81 of William Carr in the second.
Yeah, William Carr, and actually what is his first start in the super late models. He had actually just purchased this race car only moments before the session went up. So, although probably not the night that he was wanting, still up there and relatively competitive is that number 81 machine. Hopefully we'll see him back out and learning just a little bit more at the end of this race. Maybe he's so not too happy with the 72.
Like he's voicing his displeasure there. He's going to make big contact there and almost sends the 72 around. So it's been a tough night for both of these drivers, and I can understand the frustration. It's starting to get to a boiling point here at Five Flags Speedway. And tonight these competitors are being as rough, as tough as they want. This is the last race of the year. They have nothing to lose now. And especially Riley Maricchio, as he's commanded this race, and he's got, once again, an excellent battle early on between these two. It's going to be interesting to see, as we come to almost 20 to go at the line here, how these drivers are going to handle these last 20 laps here at Five Flags Speedway.
Yeah, absolutely no unfamiliar faces up at the front. The top 3 starters at the beginning of the race now end up at the top 3 starters, or top 4 starters, I guess that is, up at the front with Riley Maricchio, Kyle Martin, Brennan Verseal, Matt Vordrain in the 07. And the familiar faces, the cream rises to the top up at the front with only 20 laps to go for the Snowball Derby. And I'm sure there's going to be a battle and a fisticuffs to the finish. We'll see who ends up victorious at the end of this 150 laps here, Noah.
Oh, for sure. Maricchio and Martin have had 2 of the best, arguably the best cars all night long, as well as Verseal and Vorndran. And these top 3 cars here have been the ones to talk about. And for his way all the way back up front after getting stuck in the 5th position for most of this race. So it's going to be interesting to see what Verseal is going to be able to do in that 3rd position. But Kyle Martin is hungry. He wants this race win, and we saw how fast he got down to the inside line early on in this race. So let's see what that number 9 can do to try to combat the number 32 of Maricchio.
Yeah, that is one of the toughest things in iRacing, is because you really don't have a proper spotter in iRacing. You do have one, but it's only virtual. Sometimes does not give you the calls that you need. So trying to make that call to try to get down to the inside of somebody is, you almost have to look out for each other. As the car that's behind, you almost have to anticipate that that number 9 machine is going to dive down to the bottom row at the soonest opportunity that he has. So just to kind of anticipate those stack-ups and everything is certainly what you can do to try to prevent some of these wrecks and carnages from some of these veterans up at the front.
Back green. Maricchio is going to grab the lead once again. He's going to go immediately to the high line, and Martin is going to get the inside line immediately off the gun here at Five Flag Speedway now. It is once again, like we saw early on, it is Martin versus Maricchio. Powerhouses in this league are going back-to-back battles here in Pensacola, Florida. You can see how close the 9 is getting to Martin. He's going to shove him up to the track, get up to the high line. Here comes Kyle Martin looking for the lead.
Looks like we are once again under the caution flag. Man, it did not take long to see the old faces up at the front battling just like we saw before. Let's see if we can try to figure out what happened there under the caution. I'm not seeing anything on the racing surface here. Let's see if we can back up just a few laps. Oh, there we go. Found it.
Go. Once again, the 72 and the 81. And that's a big hit for the 81 there. Let's take a look at what happened there. And
looks like maybe
frustration
81.
from the 72.
Let's go and take another look at it again. Let's go to the front
See if we
nose.
can get an onboard cam there.
Yeah, let me go back just a little bit. Bump it here, and let's go to the... Oh, that's not it. Yep, the front nose of the 72. Looks like the 81 might have got just a little bit loose. Yep.
It looks like he was already loose, and the 72 just had nowhere to go. Once again, these two found each other right after a caution's over. And Ryan, this caution is going to change things up a lot for the last 15 laps of this race.
Yeah, once again, some of the drivers that we had seen at the front end up at the back. Let's try to check in on Alyssa Peltier, who now sits in the 6th position. She's started to make her way up to the front, probably not as far as she would have liked, but still 6th position, pretty respectable with only 40 laps to go when she was back at the back. Now the 72 also has to try to make his way back up, but up front continues to be Kyle Martin and Riley Maricchio, with Brennan Forseal and Matt Vordrain in 4th.
Well, so far it's been a great battle between Maricchio and Martin, and this is a battle of two familiar faces here at Five Flag Speedway, and these two drivers have gone at it all night long. It's going to be interesting to see how these last 14 laps are going to shape up the rest of this field, as you see Forseal and Vordrain there in row number 2. And these are two drivers who've had a great battle these last couple laps that we have had under green. And it's going to be interesting to see how they can possibly try to go for the lead here, as Maricchio and Martin have been the two strongest cars all night.
Yeah, you almost kind of wonder if you're the 82 machine. Do you kind of lay back just a little bit, expecting that how hard these two drivers up at the front have been racing? Is there any chance that the two of them may just overstep a bounds just a little bit, and the 82 could possibly slip into a hole and get into the lead? It's just a product of racing where sometimes you benefit from the over-aggression of other drivers, but these two that we've talked about have raced each other so much and so aggressively, but really quite, I guess you could say cleanly for short track racing. It's certainly been aggressive, as we said, but none of them have taken each other out. So we'll just have to see how this turns out, Noah.
And it could be an act of desperation. It could be an act of, well, once again, desperation for these front two drivers here, as Martin and Forseal have been the two closest cars to try to win this race all night long. And so far, Maricchio has been a brick wall on defense as we're getting ready to go back green here, Ryan.
It looks like pace car lights are still on top of the pace car, so we'll go one more time around. Probably at the 2 to go right now. This is kind of the times when, again, you're under caution. You got about 12 laps to go in this race. You've ran 138 laps up to this point, And decisions you make here can be detrimental or beneficial, and this can make or break your race. You really don't know how many cautions you could have or if this could go green to the finish. It's just always a toss-up. You just never know at the end of these races how it could take a turn.
These two drivers up front have so far raced pretty clean, but we've seen a couple incidents between the top two where they've either shoved each other out of the way or have just very lightly doored each other. But going back green, 10 to go when we get back to the line here. Mauricio, Martin, that's your top two. Mauricio with a great jump here. We're going back green for 10 more laps here at Five Flag Speedway.
32 jumps out early in the box once again. The number 9 falls in behind. Brandon Furseal slips into third, trying to clear the 07. He is not. They are going to spin for third and fourth and fifth, and Peltier once again ends up in the wall.
Well, an unlucky night for the number 11 caution flag is going to come out again. That's number 7, and that number 82 is thoroughly messed up. And you can see that right front end there is not where it's supposed to be, Ryan, and a big wreck there. And like we said, acts of desperation, and we saw it right there with Brennan Furseal.
See if we can back it up a lap and see what might have happened there, where this actually started to formulate. And it's oftentimes in racing where the actual incident happens isn't always where it starts. You see the 07 getting into the 82, the 22 getting into the 07. Around goes the 82, and Peltier with nowhere to go on the outside. About 4 or 5 cars ended up in this incident. Very, very strong competitors as well, late into the going.
And a frustrating night for Peltier Sharp, starting on the outside pole position, and she almost had this race in the bag early on, but her night looks like it's going to end early here at Five Flag Speedway, as well as Brennan Furseal and Bostic up in, or excuse me, Fortran in the 07 machine. And you see right there, it looks like a checkup from the 82 and a tap to the right bumper and right into the wall there, you can see, and big contact for both of those cars, and she just couldn't see it coming.
Just things happen so fast when you're talking about these race cars and how fast they make it around this facility. Just the amount of reaction time that you have to have. Oftentimes there is just nothing you can do. And oftentimes drivers will contemplate for hours and days on end about what you could have possibly done to get out of an incident. Noah, as a driver yourself, I know you've probably found yourself in a situation like that more than only a few times. What is it like after you've been close to a lead, been up to the front, or in a position to potentially win and just cannot seem to get out of the carnage, and you find yourself into an incident, and at the end of the night you end up with a tore up race car?
Well, I had an incident like that earlier on this year at Wake County Speedway. I found myself in second, but just got taken out by 2 other cars. It's a very frustrating thing when you know you have a shot at the lead, but there's just nothing that you can do to either catch the leader or get yourself out of that carnage. It's a helpless feeling, and that's probably how that number 11 is feeling right now. And a frustrating night for Peltier Sharp, and as well as the 82 of Furseal. He came so close up to the front, but yet so far later on in this race.
I give a shout out to the 03 machine of Luke Bullard, another driver who maybe not necessarily runs a lot of short track races on the sim, but also does actually run a late model stock at Dillon Motor Speedway in South Carolina. The number of the 03, Luke Bullard, looking to see if he can get it done or get up there to the front and have a little something for these drivers at the front of the race of the field.
And Bullard has had an excellent recovery from an accident he had earlier on in this race, and he's now found himself in the 4th position, and it looks like that late model racing he has done himself is paying off tonight, as Ryan, pace car laps are off, and we're going to restart with just 5 laps to go.
What could be a 5-lap shootout? Noah, you want to take us out for the final, what could be the final race, or the final start of the race for the Snowball Derby? Noah, how about you finish this out?
Absolutely. Mauricio, Martin, 2 drivers who have been up front all night long. Bostic and Bullard are in row number 2. Going back green, Mauricio, a great jump on the inside line. Martin is going to have one last shot at this as we go with 5 laps remaining here at tonight's races. He gives a shove to the 32 of Martin. Here comes Kyle Martin looking for the lead.
Kyle Martin with a bump and run late in the race, looking to see if he can slide up onto 32. He is not going to be able to get an edge off the 4 turn. Riley Maricchio with a heck of a steam on the outside, carries momentum down into 1 and 2, down the back straightaway. The battle for the lead continues down on the backstretch.
The 32's got a good head of steam, and he is looking to try to clear the 9 of Kyle Martin. Off of turn number 4, they are still side by side for the lead. Maricchio is going to lead that lap as he tries to clear the number 9 of Kyle Martin here. As we're looking at the view from Ty Bostic, these two are racing just as close as they can get as Martin now command that inside line, but here comes Maricchio on the outside.
Maricchio still battling on that outside line, keeping it tough, trying to keep the number 9 down tight on the bottom. As you've mentioned before, leaving nothing more than racing line for the number 9 machine as he slides up potentially once again off the 4th turn. 2 laps to go now, call it 1 lap to go for the Snowball Derby.
White flag this time by. It is Maricchio and Martin side by side contact between the 9 and the 32. That's going to open up the door for Maricchio. He's going to grab the lead. One last shot for Kyle Martin. He can't quite get there. Maricchio is going to win in the last lap pass for the Snowball Derby.
Collects the victory for the Snowball Derby here for the Grassroots Big Events Racing League, finishing off what was a fantastic season and a second season for the league. Looking forward to so much more in 2025, but it is all about the number 32 of Riley Maricchio taking the victory here for 150 laps. Looks like he may already be in the pit lane or towed for that number 32 machine, but what a fantastic night of racing. Fights and spills. I'm sure some of these drivers wish they had a virtual helmet to throw. And what a fantastic finish from what was just a great start where it played out naturally with what was about 90 green flag laps to start this event off. Ended up with fisticuffs at the end. What a battle between the 32 and the 9 of Kyle Martin there to finish out. Let's go ahead and go through our finishing order of the race. Riley Maricchio claims the victory once again. Kyle Martin finishes in 2nd. Ty Bostic on the back end of the podium. Steven Choate in 4th. Luke Bullard in 5th. Jeff Nairn in 6th. Stephen Ray in 7th. 8th is Jeremy Flanagan. 9th, Brennan Verseal. 10th, Matt Verdrain. 11th, Brian Johnson. 12th, Alyssa Peltier Sharp after starting in the outside row. William Caron in 13th. Stephen Height in 14th. 15th, Pete Woodrum. And to finish out your field, under 2 laps down, is Evan Amick. Noah, it has been a pleasure. What a fantastic race. I know that we have some great events stacked up for 2025. I believe our first event is going to be early on in the season when we head to Dirt for the Chili Bowl Nationals for the midget cars down in what I believe Tulsa, Oklahoma. That is going to be a fantastic event. I am not much of a dirt racer, but that is a race that certainly deserves respect from both sides of dirt and asphalt racing. Noah, it has been a pleasure. What do you think after tonight in 150 laps at Five Flags?
Oh man, and what a race it was. And these drivers here put on one heck of a show for us tonight here at Five Flags Speedway. And it's going to be an exciting season next year if this race was anything to show what's going to happen next year. And it was an amazing night here in Five Flags Speedway.
Yeah, well, that's going to close us out for tonight at Five Flags in the Grassroots Big Events Racing League. We'll see you in 2025 for the Chili Bowl Nationals, and it has been a pleasure to you and you all from Ryan Pittman up in the booth alongside Noah Evans. Y'all take care and good night.